Your life is a testament to the idea that nothing is impossible. That if somebody says no, you say it's just the beginning.
Success is not a straight line. It's crooked, it's down in a valley, it's back up over a mountain. I bet you that you have failed more times than anyone in this room.
Absolutely.
You know, don't wait for the stars to align. Reach up and rearrange them the way you want. Create your own constellation.
I am a human being. There's no difference between my humanness and your humanness. The only thing is, if you're trying to get there, you cannot stop believing in any way. No matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody tells you, you have to know it beyond knowing it.
Are you the best footballer in the world right now? I think so, yes. In my mind, I'm always the best. I don't care what the people are thinking, what they say. In my mind, not just this year, but always, I'm always the best. I'm always going to say that.
Don't allow anyone, friend, family, acquaintance, teachers, whoever it is, don't allow anyone to tell you that what you are dreaming for yourself and your family is not possible. It is possible.
Please feel me. Please hear this from my heart. Anything you want is possible. All you can do is plant your seed in the ground, water it, and believe. That is what allowed me to be in this position right now. I would not stop believing.
I would say believe in your direction and do it. Spend less time talking about it and more time trying to perfect it and put it out there.
Position yourself to succeed. So for example, if you're doing something else and you want to do this thing you love, you do it after hours. You work 9 to 6, you get home, you kiss the dog, and you go to town. Right? I mean, you start building your equity and your brand and whatever you're trying to accomplish.
If you don't do it, nothing's possible. If you try to do it, at least you have the hope.
Most people don't even try, sadly. Most people try and then stop or give up. Very few people try and try and try, or do and do and do and do and never give up. And those are the people that ultimately succeed and win.
Third failure in a row. Did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up.
If you want this, if you want bling bling, if you want to buy the jets, work. That's how you get it.
I always believe that the bridge between reality and a dream is work.
No idea works unless you have the courage to do the work. Ideation without execution is delusion.
Because you can have the most brilliant idea in the world, but you gotta bet on yourself. You can't think that that one idea and the way that you think it's supposed to happen is the only way that it can happen.
I challenge all of us to say, stop finding reasons to find and make excuses that, we affectionately at Under Armour call loser talk. And I don't know, you've got to just will it and focus on making it happen.
Focus on one thing, one area. Put all of your energy into watering one area. If you spread the water across many, many seeds, you don't have as much water for one seed. So focus on one thing.
What I learned from Steve Jobs is, if you believe enough, then you will see it. Because other people will believe in it. Other people will create products. So you need to foster the belief in what you are dreaming so that it becomes a reality.
Life is about moments. Life is about remembering that one thing that changed my life. Come on, man. have that real look in your eye that when you look at yourself in the mirror, you can ask yourself this question: did I give everything I got? Did I lay it all on the line? Or am I cheating myself?
Give me my ones, give me my ones. Take a call. Let's go, let's go. Yeah, that's what I like. That's what I like right there.
All the world will be your enemy. Prince with 1,000 enemies.
What is that one moment? What is that one race? What's that one fight I found myself in that I had to make up my mind that I was gonna be different? What makes me different? When I get up every day, if it's somebody else as hungry as me, what makes them choose me?
Alright, so we're gonna race then. Who you think gonna win? Who gonna win? Who gonna win? That's me. I think we're gonna win. You're not gonna beat him. You're not fast enough. You wanna race? You faster than nobody fast. Alright, we're gonna say let's race. Yeah!
And to be different, it's got to come from your gut. It's got to come from your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit. You got to be willing to die for it every second of your life.
Let's go, everybody. Bring it up, bring it up. If you don't want it, somebody else got to come in here and take it, okay? You got to want it. You want to be dominant. If you don't want it, somebody else is going to come in and take somebody's spot. Who will? Oh, yes, baby. Oh, yes, baby. This is hard. This is hard. Who's going to step up? Step up. Oh, look who it is.
Most athletes say talent will take you a long ways. I tell you, effort will last eternity. Effort.
It's the one thing that we all have, the mind, right? But it's the one thing that we don't have a manual for. We buy a blender, we get a manual. Our iPhone comes with a manual. We get a car and it has a manual. Nobody teaches you how to use the mind. There's no manual for the mind. So this, I think, is one of the most essential things in making progress in our life, is really understanding how our mind works. It's the one thing that we have to live with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have no choice. Imagine if most of you slept 8 hours a day, which most of you don't. You slept and you were awake 16 hours a day. In the 16 hours you practice your awareness just randomly moving from one thing to another, to another, to another. All day practice being distracted. What would you be good at after 6 months? You did the 16 hours a day, you just allow your awareness to jump from one thing to another to another. I'll tweet right now, I'll switch to text messaging, then I'll go to email. Oh, my phone's ringing, so I'll answer the phone. And then somebody's speaking to me, so I'll have 2 conversations at one time. And I'll just do this 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you get at being good at distracted. After 1 year, you're an expert at being distracted. After a year and a half, they'll invite you to give keynote talks on being distracted. You're so good, you practice 16 hours a day. So the same works for the opposite. If you practice being concentrated 16 hours a day, what would you become good at? You become good at concentrating. And all it takes is practice. By just doing one thing at a time. Keeping your awareness on one thing at a time. And you integrate this into everything that you do in your life. So the best way to do it is pick a few opportunities in your everyday life. For example, we all speak with people. When I speak with somebody, I give them my undivided attention. I keep my awareness on them. And the conversation is really brief. Why? Because we're concentrated. We're not being distracted. A 10-minute conversation normally just takes 3 minutes because you're just so focused. I define concentration as the ability to keep that awareness on one thing for a prolonged period of time. So if I can keep my awareness on Eric and not drift away and think about the wedding, or drift away and think about the vacation, or what I'm going to do later, then I'm concentrating on Eric. Every time it drifts away, I bring it back. And the more I practice this, the more I practice concentration. So concentration is the ability to keep your awareness on one thing for a prolonged period of time. And that's a very simple definition of concentration. How do you get better at concentration? You practice this. You practice this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's the only way to get good at it. And what's the best way to practice it? The best way to practice it is to integrate it into everything that you do in your life. Not to meditate 10 minutes in the morning. It doesn't work. You really need to look at your life the same way a sprinter in the Olympics looks at his life. You've all heard of Usain Bolt, the man that won the gold medal twice, 2 Olympics in a row, broke the world record. I don't know anything about him, to be honest. But if I was looked at him, he obviously sprints, he practices running, probably does a lot of long distance, he probably does a lot of stretching as well, I'm sure he gets massages. He looks like he eats the right kind of food. Drinks the right amount of water, takes vitamins. His whole day is so disciplined. For what? To prepare him for 9.57 seconds. I think that's what the world record is, right? For 100 meters, 9.5 or 9.57 seconds. His whole day is preparing him for that short time, not the other way around. A lot of people say, you know what, I need to be more concentrated. So you know what, I'm going to meditate in the morning, I'll sit down for 2 minutes. Okay, now I'm Zen master. And the remaining 23 hours and 58 minutes, they just go about being ordinary and crazy. How does that work? How would you change? It's not balanced at all. So if for 23 hours and 58 minutes you were not being concentrated, you allowed your awareness to jump from one thing in your mind to another thing, to another thing, to another thing, to another thing, in an uncontrolled way, what would you be good at? And out of a prolonged concentration comes the wonderful power of observation. You just become more observant, and when you become more observant, you see solutions quicker and you solve things quicker. And it's a wonderful, powerful feeling when somebody is concentrated on you and not being distracted. So the best way is to integrate it into your everyday life. You're speaking with your spouse, give her or give him your undivided attention. So develop your awareness, integrate it into everything that you do in your life. And that's the best way you become good at. The next thing we need to develop is develop your will. Will is really important. Will is almost like a muscle in your mind, and you use that to pull and control your awareness and take it from one area of the mind to another. And the will needs to be developed. And same like concentration, if you don't cultivate the will, it doesn't grow. And this is something that really needs to be cultivated. How do you develop the will? There's 3 very simple ways to develop the will. 1 is you finish what you begin. 2 is you finish it well beyond your expectation, no matter how long it takes. 3 is you do a little bit more than you think you can do. All of those things require effort, and effort is will. It's so much easier to start a project than to finish a project, right? When you start a project, you're feeling creative, you're feeling inspired, you're full of energy. At the end of the project, you go, whose idea was this? So it requires tremendous amount of will to finish, and every time you complete something, you develop a little bit more will, and you have that muscle. And will is an amazing thing to develop, because once you develop will, that same will you can use in every aspect of your life to keep your awareness on one thing at a time, to finish projects, to see things through to the end, anything you want. The best way to develop will, bring it into your everyday life, into everything that you do. Give you an example, the way I integrate it into my everyday life, I try and finish what I begin. So for example, going to sleep. I sleep every night, so I put on my pajamas, I floss, I brush my teeth, I go to bed, I sleep, I wake up in the morning, I make the bed. Why? Because I'm finishing what I start.